Welcome back to a brand new episode of SeedSpark Sessions. As always, we hope this one finds you well, and today we are talking more about working remotely, because in the midst of COVID-19, many companies have begun working from home, but what happens when an employee finds themselves in the position to work remotely permanently? Today we are talking to Nichole Nowell, our client relationship manager here at SeedSpark, about what the transition was like when going from working 40 hours a week in the office to being entirely remote. Not only that, remote in a different state. She is now living in Massachusetts, hundreds of miles away from our headquarters here in Charlotte, North Carolina, and we talk more about the challenges that has presented and how she has been able to overcome them and continue performing well in her job. Without further ado, Nichole Nowell, client relationship manager at SeedSpark. So can you explain a bit more about what you do for our team here at SeedSpark as our client relationship manager?
Sure. So there's actually a couple pieces to it. Well, of course, the major piece is just keeping that relationship with SeedSpark and the clients, just checking in on them, seeing how they're doing, and if there is any issues, reaching out to them to make sure that they're good and they're resolved. And also to help out with like sales in any way, like all the house accounts, I take over those, reach out, see if they need anything or if everything's good with them. And another piece of it is helping sales understand tech better. So they have that buffer between me and managed services so I can explain what certain types mean when they're trying to sell something.
So with all these responsibilities, you chose to move to Massachusetts and work remotely in a full-time position with SeedSpark, still maintaining all of your responsibilities to be closer to family. What was the process like when transitioning from a 40-hour in-office week to being a full-time remote employee?
So it definitely took a little getting used to, just because sometimes going into the office is like getting away. So it's like a new space to go and try and be in and not have the same people and everything around you like you do at home at night every night. Like definitely you need to get used to it. And then you of course miss the people in the office that you don't get to see.
Yeah, I can imagine that's probably one of the biggest detriments of working remotely. And I think that our entire team experienced a bit of that when we worked remotely earlier this year with COVID-19. You don't realize how much you enjoy the company of the people that you work with, even though you might just pass them in the hallway.
Correct. And sometimes the communication is better when you can look at a person versus reading something in Teams that might be construed as like mean or offset or anything like that.
Yeah, there's an incredible level of understanding that's achieved by just having a communication, a conversation in person, because of facial features or any kind of inflection with the voice. You don't realize how important that is until you do see yourself forced into a world that is built in Teams.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, even like they'll say, "Oh yeah, I got it, I got it." But when you're in front of them, you can probably tell by their expressions or the way they're kind of like standing and whatnot if they really do get it or not. But you can't tell that over the phone.
Outside of the communication issues, what are the other detriments of working remotely before we dive into the benefits that you've experienced?
Sometimes it is harder to get someone on the phone than to just drop by their office. So that is definitely one of the things. And if there's like multiple people, it's definitely harder to say, okay, when are you guys free? As you can just grab 2 minutes in the office off to the side. So I think that was kind of one of the biggest ones for me.
So what are some of the benefits that you've experienced since transitioning to a full remote position?
I have more time to get things done because there's less interruptions. Because of course people come by and ask you for help with this or just a question in general, but then it turns into a little bit longer conversation on other stuff. So I definitely have more time to get stuff done that I wanted to get done, especially like training.
That makes sense. And on top of that, did you have a long commute before you moved?
I did not. It was like 15 minutes.
Even 15 minutes, though, that saves you some time going back and forth to the office.
It does.
Absolutely. As we talked about earlier, office culture, let me try that again. As we talked about earlier, office culture is a large part of the lives of people working in the corporate world. So how do you stay connected to your friends around the office whenever you are working remotely?
Teams is definitely like the big win there. Like I just like in the morning, I'll shoot them a message like good morning and whatnot. And we also do like the video chats instead of just picking up, like even if it's a question about work, like something you're selling or whatnot, pick up and do video instead just to see the other person. So that helps a lot.
So do you think video is as important as many people claim it is? I see tons of guides online discussing how to establish better remote communication. And you are a believer in the world of video?
I'm 50-50. Sometimes I'm like, no, we don't need to do video. And then there's a part of me that's like, it's better because they can actually see you and you get those facial expressions when they're like happy or and stuff like that. So it does definitely help in a way.
I think it definitely adds a different level as well. Even the stuff that I experienced when I'm working remotely, it seems that video adds a different element that can't really be replicated in audio only. You spoke earlier about just hitting somebody up to say good morning. How important are the non-business related messages with the relationships between you and your team?
I think they're both equally important because, I mean, at the end of the day, you spend and talk to them more than sometimes you do your own family. So I definitely feel it's very important just to be friendly and have that kind of relationship as well. And also, you don't want to go into work and not like the people you work with. So I think it's definitely a big thing for you to get along and be friendly with everyone.
Of course, whether you're working remotely or in the office.
Correct.
So, what are ways that people could use technology that currently exists today to better connect remote workers with the hub of a business, or in our case, the SeedSpark offices here in Charlotte?
I think it does go back to Microsoft Teams. That's like one of our biggest things to stay connected and kind of make sure that everyone's on the same page and is able to get done what they need to do.
So, just being mindful of the people that are working remote and not to forget that they're also just as important as a part of our team.
Right.
So, of course, SeedSpark uses Office 365 as a platform for a lot of the work that we do, and on top of that, the services that we provide. So, how has Microsoft's productivity suite, from Teams to Office 365, applications like SharePoint and OneDrive, how have these helped us stay connected as you have moved thousands of miles away to a state that seems so far away, but in reality, it's not quite that big of a distance?
Right. Of course, it always goes back to Teams because it definitely is a big help staying connected. And then also like your OneDrive, it's a lot easier to send someone a link and you can see live time that they're going in there and actually looking at it and fixing what needs to be fixed. So you don't have to keep like saying, hey, send me the attachment back, or hey, this is wrong, and then you got to do it back and forth. So that OneDrive is synced down. SharePoint is great for me anyways. Another big one for me is the Outlook Connect to the to-dos. If you set up a flow, you can actually make it to do wherever you flag an item, it goes right in your to-dos. So that way, like, I don't miss anything. I can go in there and make sure that I hit that email back if I needed to, or if there was a to-do I need to pull out from that email.
Yeah, that's incredibly useful, especially with having to maintain a lot of different workflows in your position. And on top of that, kind of stay on top of a variety of projects. It's important to make sure that you have all your ducks in a row.
Yeah, to-dos definitely, Microsoft to-dos definitely helps with that.
So, what tools or capabilities do you believe would help make your daily workflow easier in the future? And this can even be something that doesn't exist yet, a future application that Microsoft or another development company might bring into existence.
That one I'm not sure on, just because everything as of right now for me is working. I'm sure like if I've only been gone a month and a half, so I'm sure working more into the remote work, I would probably think of something that I could benefit from. But as of right now, Microsoft is giving me everything that I pretty much need to do remotely right now.
So, looking into the future, as you said, you've been remote for a month and a half, give or take. Do you see a dedicated office space being a relic of the past as the future continues to bring new innovations that change the way that employees work and businesses operate?
I don't see it being a relic just because sometimes a lot of your people like I said, like to get out of the house and work. For me, it was very beneficial just because I think it gave me more time with my children. But being in the office and having that break is definitely, I think, a big part of the workforce.
Are there any other points that you would want to share about working remotely, about the power of teams that's helped you stay connected with your team? Anything at all that you'd like to add?
I think everything is going great. I know it's bad times, but working remotely definitely is very beneficial for me, and I'm so glad that I was able to stay with SeedSpark and do that, and also have more time with my kids and as being a single parent. So it's definitely been a great transition so far.
Yeah, I know that we're all glad to hear it, and we're glad to still have you on board as part of the team.
Yes, I'm definitely happy about that.
Thanks for taking time to check out this episode of SeedSpark Sessions. If you're new here and you enjoyed what you heard, be sure to subscribe on podcast services, or, of course, you can find the show on YouTube as well. Links to those pages and our social media channels will be down below, or you can always hit us up on the official SeedSpark website for more information on the topics we covered, or to learn more about the services we offer. But we look forward to seeing you on the next episode.